I've been asked by a lot of people to do a video on beginning flint napping. I'm 73 years old and I started flint napping when I was 14. And I figured it out by trial and error. And what happened, I was in a creek and I picked up a flat rock. And when I picked up the flat rock, I was hammering, and I'm going to see if I can get this in the camera. Is this in the camera?
Yeah.
And I hit the top of the rock, and I noticed a flake come off and had a sharp edge. So I turned it over and struck it again. I said, well, I'll be dog. So I started flip-flopping it, and I didn't knock anything off here, but I had a straight edge. So I said, well, that must be how they did it, and I started playing with it. And over a time period of playing with it, I finally figured it out. It was not any books I could find back in the 60s, I'm sure it was, in the 50s, but I couldn't find it in the library that explained it. They just said what they used. So I would use a nail and a hammer and punch notch my notches in, which I didn't think was the right way to do it, and I didn't know anything about heat treating. And years later, I got pretty good at it. I ran into a guy, and he was good at heat treating, and I didn't know about heat treating. And he showed me, and once I figured out how to heat treat the Central gravel is in Mississippi and parts of the South, and that stuff's tougher than woodpecker lips. I mean, it's hard as hickory bark. And once I figured out how to heat treat it, I was so excited it started flaking good, and my craftsman skill improved a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wavy rock and try and find one wavy. Here's a wavy edge on the rock. So I made this edge wider. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Like this edge is from the chalk until where my fingers are, this wide. So you can illustrate, instead of making a straight edge like this, I just made it wide, like we magnified it. And flint napping is all about angles. Angles, angles, angles. And so what you want to do is when you pick up a rock and you're looking at it, you want to try to find out your imaginary center line, and that's what these dots are, is the imaginary center line of this rock. So I'm looking at this rock here, I'm coming through here, and I'm trying to find my center line. Once you find your center line, you want to hit below it. So this would be below it, this one here, and this one here. This one would be blow it on this side, this one would be blow it on that side. And a lot of people call these platforms or nipples, and they're made up naturally when you pick the rock up, or once you start shaping, you have to make your platform. Now, this is where the angles come in. And I don't understand this. I never took geometry or anything like this, but what I do know is you have a plate glass window right here, and you shoot it with a BB, and that BB hits that window. On the inside, it's going to make a perfect cone fracture. And so what I did is I made a perfect cone fracture on this stick, just like this. So when you hit right here on top of this is a natural rock that goes in this way. If you hit straight down, it's going to break off. It's going to follow that fracture. It's only going to break off right there. So you remove this much material because you hit straight down. Now, I'm going to put it back and show you. I'm going to draw this right back on an angle like it was. Now, that's hitting straight down. If I hit this way, it's going to knock off this much material because this is the impact of the BB right here. So this is where you used to, I'd take my two fingers when I'd be flint napping, and I'd say, okay, I got a hump I need to remove here, and I'm going to hit right here so the shot waves are going this way, and I knew which angle to turn it. So all of this is angles, angles, angles. And it's sort of like playing pool or billiards or whatever you want to call it. Not only are you hitting angles, but when you hit them, you're setting up for your next move. Okay, now, let's say you just had the square edge of the rock. You picked up a rock and it just had a square edge on the end like this. What would you do? If you came down and struck on this angle here, let's see what happened. Put that right there. That's what you're taking off, that amount right there. Let's see if you change it to like this. You're taking that amount off. So people say, I can't thin my points. I'm making points, I'm trying my best, but I can't get them thin. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm gonna pick this up here and old man gotta bend over and get a chalk here, do some grunting. So they say, you know, I can't get my points thin. Well, what you're doing, you're hitting too straight down and you're not hitting in enough, like that. And your flakes aren't driving far enough. That flake went all the way across. So if you're not thinning them, it's the angle that you're hitting on. And that's why I'm trying to use this little jig here I made to show you if you want to run it this way or this way. So it's all thinning. So let's look right here. If we want to take this off and thin it, we're going down that way, and we set it like this, it's going to just take this much off. But if you set it in like this, it's going to go almost underneath. In fact, it might even be too low and make a valley like we got right there, make a low area in that rock. So here we go. If you set your angle like this, it's going to come out right under there. If you set it like that, look where it's coming out. Halfway across. Angle, angle, angle. Now, how do you change angles? Angles can be changed very, very easy. I'm trying to find my bopper here and look at here and get me a little pad. And on the world's worst about saying you're going to do something, you need to be set up to do it. And I'm not set up to do it. Okay. Here's the way you can change angles. All right, I got my platform made right here, and I'm gonna grab my glasses because, like for safety, these are reading glasses. Okay, if I hit straight down like this, that only came out right there. If I drive in like that, it went all the way down to there. That's how you change angles with your hand. You hold this flat, you hit down, hit this way. Use all angles in a half of a circle, half degree of a circle is what you're going to use. So you need to learn these. Now, you're using angles to set up. I'm hitting straight down. I'm going like this to turn this edge up. So this edge was straight. Now, I'm going to turn it up. Say my thumb's straight. I turned it up like this, and you can see how it's rolled over. So I turn that edge over. Now I'm going to show you another way to change angles. And this is the problem I had. Your leg is round like this. And if you're holding that piece straight, and then you hold it over here, and you hold it over here, you change 3 different angles, even though you're hitting the same way. So watch this. If I'm hitting straight down, and I got it right there, only this amount came off. Very, very little. Now, if I put it over here, and I hit straight down, the same swing, but I changed my angle by position on the leg, that much went off. Now, if I put it over here, and I missed my platform, it went all the way down here. It should have went way down, but I missed my platform, just caught the edge of it, so I didn't get a good bite in it. So I've had people, I've been teaching classes, and they're right here on top of their leg, and they're working just fine. I mean, everything's going great. And then all of a sudden they start getting hinges and things like that. And I look over there and they say, man, John, I done got in some hinges and I don't understand what's going on. And I'm looking and they're over here napping. And they're hitting the same angle. You're changing your angles. You're going, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Ernest, can you understand what I'm trying to say about this?
Mm-hmm.
When you're going down like this, you're changing your angles. Here's a good way to explain it right here. All right, this is the angle. All right, when we start going down, it's changing. And you're changing your angle. So the best way to learn to nap is find a place you're comfortable with and stick with that place and always use that. And it'll help you on your angles when you swing in. So that'll help on those angles. Now, I'm gonna wipe this off.
You got 10 minutes. I don't know where you're going for a time limit.
Okay, that's fine. We're gonna make this like probably a 2-part or 3-part video, and that's why he told me that, because I don't like to sit and watch an hour video. My attention span's not that good. Yours might be, but anyway. So now, setting up platforms. You got, again, I'm gonna kind of make this straight. You got to imagine this is a razor edge right here. In other words, this is that edge you're looking at, even though I made it that wide. It's not this part, it's the edge. So this is your center line, your imaginary center line. So setting up platforms, I like to make continuous platforms when I first start thinning. Not until I get it thin, but when I first start thinning on rock. Now I'm hitting straight down. Actually, I'm hitting this way. Hitting on this angle because I don't want these flakes to run very far. And I'm wanting to roll this edge up. Now, what I did here, again, my thumb straight, I say my finger straight like this, and I roll that edge back that way. So when I turn it over, you ought to be able to see how much that edge went that way. So it's like we're taking this edge here, and now we're moving it over here, and this part of it is gone. We removed it. And now you did that, you can hit this way. And now this is the edge, so when you hit this way, it means it's going behind, it's going that way. So I'm gonna grind it. And this is what I call a continuous platform. It's turned all the way over. So I start right here, hit, I skip, 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 hit, skip, 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 and hit. And all those flakes ran about halfway. Now, isolated platform, when I start getting something real thin like this, that's when I do isolated platforms, because I can't afford to mess up. And when it's thin, you don't want to mess up anyway. So an isolated platform, I'm going to make it like this. One right here on the tip. Because it's already one almost naturally made, so I'm cheating on you. Okay, this is an isolated platform. It's sticking out by itself. So this will be an isolated platform. So I made one over here. That part would be removed and it's out there by itself. See how it's sticking out by itself? Right there. So you're not going, if you miss, you're just hitting your pad. So it's very easy to hit that platform. And if you don't and you miss, you haven't done any damage. So like if your port's real thin, you might not want to hit